So we are live now, Susan. Bang on time, 9 o'clock in the evening, Berlin time. And it's 3 o'clock in New York?
3 o'clock in New York.
6 hours difference between us.
Another week is, yes. It's wonderful what technology can do to connect us around the world and sharing ideas and sharing philosophies and just sharing the runes and feeling so connected because we're connected by our hearts and what we're doing.
That's true. What a blessing that is. So many blessings for all those great opportunities, which we sometimes forget. So thank you for bringing that up to be grateful for. And today is a very special day. True, there's a lot to be grateful for. That's why I love this practice, which I do like the last 2 years. I write daily gratitude posts on my Facebook, on my personal profile, and I love it. It really changed my whole awareness to see even the little details in the everyday, which are, it's a mirror for the abundance what life gives us.
Yes, and it's so beautiful because to maintain a regular gratitude practice, it uplifts us from those negative thoughts that are so frequent and that we are bombarded with daily from the world around us. So we can stay happy, we can stay upbeat, knowing how rich our lives truly are.
That's true. And I started to write down at least three nice things during the day. And it is really a practice. Now, after 2 years, I see like unlimited things to be grateful for. But it was a practice to expand the consciousness and the awareness, to see it like with love or like through the eyes of love. It was not like this all the time. Like 2 years ago, when I remember when I started, it was like, oh no, there was a lot of times resistance, like, oh, today was not a good day, and I can't be bothered to even sit down for 5 minutes and to reflect on the day. And it took me discipline to stay put. And it's like with everything in life, if we are disciplined and do it through repetition and again, then it starts to become like a habit and part of us. That for me, gratitude means to look with like God's eyes, or the goddess eyes to everywhere where I look. It's beautiful, and now I cannot go to sleep if I have not done a gratitude practice.
Yes. I find your gratitude postings on Facebook to be very uplifting, because sometimes they can be about the most ordinary things, but to have that sense of reverence for the most ordinary things, it's just reminds me to live from my heart instead of from my, the head.
Yes.
Too much perfectionism gets in the way of happiness, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And it's also so human. I mean, we all have got moments, don't we? Where we feel something has to be in a certain way before we can feel love, or before we can appreciate something. And it's totally normal. So that's why I think it's necessary to have useful practices, to do it again and again, to retrain our brains to think differently, and then we obviously act differently as well. If we start to think more positive, happy thoughts, we act in a different way than when we act just like from this perfectionist or very controlling way. And it's all okay. It's
Do you
all
ever
okay,
notice?
it's all welcome. It's just a matter to, I think, to be aware, oh, okay, now I'm being perfectionist, and now I'm being this, and it's all about, it's all fine.
Yeah.
Just to look at it, to light at it.
And it all has its place. You know, it's when I'm being creative and I'm painting a portrait or something like that, being perfectionist, I do my best work. You know, I bring my best to the work. But if I allow that sense of judgmentalism to color everything, then life can get very unhappy. So it's really just a matter of allowing it to be playful.
I love this, playful, being playful. The whole life is a game, isn't it? For us to co-creatively play it.
Yeah. And experience it. And even the harder emotions, the sadness and the things that many of us are experiencing at this time, it has a perspective. We can identify them. I feel sad because I don't see people cooperating, or I feel sad because people are dying when they shouldn't have to, or I feel sad, in ways that I can't have any control over. So I understand now, to recognize what my feelings are, but then to refocus on my own life and what I can be proactive about, so I can work on a book that might help some people toward their own enlightenment. I have these wonderful shows with you every Sunday, and I go out in the garden, so it's all, I feel useful, and I need to feel useful in the face of everything I can't be useful with, it's that paradox that we have.
Yes, so important, so powerful what you just said, to feeling useful regardless of what's going on. And there's surely enough going on in the world which can put us down, and our spirits. But so important. For me, it's like this embodied metaphor, like whether being torn in all different directions, or whether we consciously pick up our destiny thread, and we are then deciding who to co-create with, and how do we lead the thread. So this is the transformation, either being separated and being pulled in all different directions, different meanings, programs there,
right,
or fear. It could be anything out there where we can be pulled in different directions. And for me, this is so very important, to come home to ourselves. It's about like centering within our own soul's calling, or like I call it, the destiny thread. And then we feel useful. Then we are co-creating or playing the game of life, or we are being played or being torn in all different directions. And that's why I appreciate
I like
so
your
much.
phrase.
Sorry?
I love your phrase, coming home to ourselves, because we really do have that completeness within us, and we're never, ever disconnected from the source of life.
No, we often think we are. And that's why it's so important to come back home, come back home to ourselves, and then we feel useful. Then whatever we do, it feels worthwhile, and like we're making a worthwhile contribution. And this is so important. That's why I value so much to meet up with you, where we speak about things which give us value, where we can share from our fullness of self, from our usefulness of self, from life. And there could be so many things for different people. And I love to share with you
and there's so
our
much
runes, or like our creativity. This is so helpful. To find those ways.
There's so much that we have in common with other people, for all of our differences, there's really a lot more that we have in common. I think the poet Maya Angelou said that at one point. I remember seeing a quote on that. But So when we feel different, or we have somebody with an opposing political view or something, we can just remember, I like to remember, personally speaking, to be kind. Just to be kind. That's just how I'm feeling today. You know, I'm sort of in a, I'm not my usual energetic self, because I've been writing and thinking and just letting a lot of things process through me. But when I see people arguing and everybody polarized, and I just, you know, if people would just remember to be kind and to listen and to support each other, you know, we could dialogue and we could come through some of our differences through enlarging our hearts. And, you know, that's why this work is so important, because whatever it is that we uncover in ourselves, you know, that keeps us from being able to step into another person's perspective, we can uncover that through the process of rooting, through going down, you know, to the roots, which we talk about doing. And the creative flow in that manner is so important, you know, whether we're embroidering or painting or writing or meeting with each other online. You know, I find sometimes when I'm stuck in my own emotional awareness, I like to just pull out a needle and thread, or pull up a pencil and do some drawing, because what will emerge in the creative process will give me that opportunity for insight. And I think you find that to be true also.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I love anything to do with hands, because then automatically, then so many in those thought processes get me out from my head and literally bring it into the hands, where I also feel when I create something, I feel useful again and valuable, and it gives me like a sense like of joy, which is helpful to get me out of this loops, like the emotional loops, which are sometimes very draining. And so it's so important to have exercises to get us out of the head. The head is not always our friend. We're thinking like over 60,000 thoughts a day, and not all of them are very beneficial. So
No.
I definitely, yeah,
Exactly.
I'm a great supporter. That's, for me, it's the embroidery. Like this week, I did an embroidery online workshop where we did a meditation to connect with our unique goddess, because it's different for every person. And a lot of times we just don't connect to the divine. And so we did a meditation, and then we asked question what was expressing to us, which symbols or which goddesses wants to weave through us. And then we started like to do our, like to embroider our different symbols. And I like these little matryoshkas, like in Russian. Some people know them. They're like different dolls inside. And I like to embroider the matryoshkas and to put like some wisdom seeds into her womb.
Yes.
And for me, it weaves at the moment to do the wealthy goddess. And so that's why I'm doing. And for me, this is a beautiful practice to connect with something higher to us, like the goddess who is weaving to me at the moment. And then once we connect, we start to listen. What is this goddess like? How is she expressing to me? Because there are no coincidences in life. If this goddess at this moment, when you try to connect with her, comes to you, this is so sacred. And all we have to do is to just listen. And when we start to manifest it with our hands and find another creative expression, it becomes a very sacred process, like where we can really start to receive messages from this divine energies. And for me, this is a very beautiful and creative practice. I encourage anybody to do. and it doesn't have to be embroidery. It can be anything, like just ask, yeah, and then you will receive a message, and then just try to write it down. Or maybe you want to do a movement, or maybe you want to do your own unique ritual to connect with this divine.
Yeah.
There are limitless possibilities to do.
It's a really beautiful thing. You know, I had a moment of synchronicity this week. I have a young psychic friend, and she's being trained. So she was giving away her readings, and she did a really good reading for me, including this one symbol that follows me around when I'm working on my book. I don't know, it's just kind of silly scratched in here. I don't know if it's really clear. You see it?
Yes.
I'll give it a moment because I know you have a hesitation. Yeah. But it's like an eye of God with the 12, you know, the 12 prongs of the alhaz on each corner. And I'm going to have to embroider that soon because it's always there for me.
And it reminds me of the creatrix symbol.
Yeah, that one too. A little bit of, you know, some of the symbols.
Directions.
Yeah, I don't have my set right here. Yeah. The 4 directions, and you know, the Spanish have what they call the Ojos de Dios, the eye of God, which is a very protective symbol too. So I feel really good whenever I see that. I know I have all the help that I need. You know, this book, this one I'm working on now, has been a struggle because there's so much I've been given and so much detail, you know, that I have to try to organize. And I've been working on this one for like 6 years, and it's just, you know, it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes, but it's now my understanding is where it's coming together, and I'm so grateful, and I'm having so much fun. It's not a struggle anymore.
Wow, is that the book about the Yggdrasil?
Wait to share it.
Is that the book about the Yggdrasil?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to read it, to find more out about it.
Yes, as soon as I get it, I was going to ask you if you would just like read it for me and give me your thoughts on it.
Yes.
You know,
I look forward to it.
Just to like read it, and yeah, thank you.
Can't wait.
It's been a journey up the mountain.
Well, it must be an important book. I mean, it's so transformational. I know I've got your book about the runes and how we connect here on the live course. It resonates highly with me, and it always requires a lot of your own inner work, inner journey, what you write about.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, your book has helped me too, because, you know, this whole being able to share with someone else, this whole journey with the Norns and going down to the roots of the tree, it's so marvelous to meet kindred souls. You know, we have this whole thing that we share and influence, and, you know, people are attracted to it. It's wonderful. You know, we have we're starting to get some regular viewers now, and, you know, I could name some of them, but I don't want to embarrass anybody, but it's just so nice to have people feeling encouraged, you know, because I think when, you know, I don't know if it's true for everybody, but it might be that, you know, if we're different, we feel shut out, we feel shut down, we don't give voice to our own soul. And when we start getting messages like these, it's so important to share so that it encourages, because the goddesses want to get the message out. Women are valuable. You know, I believe it's the divine feminine that's going to help turn this whole unhappy worldview that humans have around. You know, we're the life bearers. We give birth. We have children. We don't want to see Earth die because people are being stupid about climate change or treating each other wrong. And, you know, and we love trees. And that's why Yggdrasil is such an important message, because so vital, so valuable in the fact that we share consciousness with other beings, not just other humans, but other beings.
So true. So much richness there. And I think it's just so important that it's all interconnected. Like the Yggdrasil does not come alone. It's a part, like also like the three nones.
Right.
There is this interconnected wholeness that they come together. Yeah. And that's why I love that the feminine is all about co-creation. Once we consciously like take our threads, which the nuns do with the past, present, and future, if we consciously connect, that's how we are made out of each human being. And if we connect with those threads, and then we get to the well, to the root of Yggdrasil, the Yggdrasil would not survive without the holy water coming from the Urdbrunnen. Yeah,
right.
And from the feminine caring nature, there's the three nuns who water Yggdrasil. They are said to carve out the runes, to whisper secrets to the world, and even if we like have got one tie line or a thread disconnected or unknotted, for me, like this whole anti-racism or climate change, coronavirus, they are just knots in the thread, in the timeline. And if we consciously throw light at that, we have got the power, like the knots, to unknot the knots, that it can flow again. And we all have got the same power. And that's why I feel it's this wholeness, symbolism, which comes like with the holy water, with the nuns who carry all the threads and who can recreate and reweave any timeline from the present moment, depending if we are consciously aware that we have got those powers and use them in like fully responsibly and with the best intentions for the whole world. And that's why I just love this whole symbology of the nuns, and it comes to me in my life more and more, like we cannot also do it by ourselves. It always is a co-creative process. Yeah. So that's why I value so much speaking with you or with others who like see the same, like who can feel like the same like power and magic coming through this mythology. And
it's the power of love, and it's the power of creativity, and it's the power of being able to change things in according to the law of love. And cause and effect doesn't always have to be negative. You send a loving thought out, someone receives it, they send it out again, and it just keeps feeding. It feeds its way through forward. It's a beautiful thing. And it's just about having the courage to take it and say, okay, here's a little heart for you, or here's a little heart for you, or it's amazing. It's amazing. And it just weaves itself through, from human being to human being. And and we get through because we share loving actions. I think. I really do think so. We share loving actions, and that's how we get through.
Yes. And it requires again and again to get to the root of how ourselves, how are we in this moment woven in the big tapestry, what is weaving through me. Then I feel useful and with my next step, like taking the soul in line next step, and co-creation with others. And that's how we create a new. That's why I love this story, which we talked about before. It's so simple, but so effectful. Like this one old woman who has been weaving this blanket of life, and then this dark dog came and ripped it all apart. And what is she doing? She connects herself, like she centers herself again, and she starts to weave anew. And she believes even something
Perfect.
newer and something better. And I think this is the same process as an invitation for each human being. And that's what I think for me it means to be a responsible human being. Being responsible is to reconnect again and again. What is calling out to me? Who am I really? That's where it's
Yes.
know thyself, know thy destiny thread, center yourself. Who are you? Because you're something
Yes.
more. You are already divine because you're breathing. What a miracle that you're here. And connect with that. Who is breathing you now? Who's breathing you now? And what is my next solar line step? And if you do that, then you live your life more and more out of this joy and feel more and more that you're this
Yes.
co-creator of life, like the nuns or this woman from this
Yes.
story. Like each human being has got this this power, and this is the true power.
Yes. And it really is, you know, and it's just as simple as taking ourselves away from a bad thought and putting ourselves in a good thought. You know, in the moment I feel sad about something, I don't want to be sad because I give my energy to that. So I think a happy thought. I bring that in, you know, I bring that in. And then I keep going with my work.
Yes. And how powerful is that? This is true power which we have. Like the matter of choice, like, okay, maybe I'm thinking something bad, maybe I'm in fear, maybe I've done something bad. Okay, that might have been bad. But from now, in this moment, I just decide to do it differently. And this is
Yes.
incredible how powerful beings we are, really.
And how simple it is once we own our power. You know, it's as simple as owning our power.
Yeah.
You know, we don't let a religion, we don't let a politician, you know, tell us how we connect with the divine. It's all here. It's all within each one of us every day, every moment of the day, you know, and we don't let I like the word sovereignty.
Mm. Yes.
Knowing yourself, having power over how you think, gives you power over how you're and keeps you useful.
Mm. Yes. Yes. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But it's not. That's why I like those words. It's simple, but it's not always easy because depending what comes up
Yes.
from our shadow work, it's sometimes very difficult. I know for sure it took me 15 years or so. I've been to so many therapists and doing so much shadow work. It's like incredible. And then I started with the own spiritual journey away from this usual school therapist. And so it's not easy. Like I never say it's easy to do the shadow work, but it's simple in
Not
terms that it's still every time it's about like connecting and ask yourself who's breathing you. So who are you really something outside of ourselves, and living from that, from the higher self, yeah, or on finding new tools to connect with our higher selves and with the spiritual world and with God and goddesses. And the more often we do that, the easier it actually really becomes. Mm.
Yeah, the more you live it, the more rewarding it is. So you just keep following it. You
Yes.
know, it's a path has its own reward. Even if there might be hard things to go through, they don't seem hard because you know that life is always supporting you. The universe is always supporting you. It's your growth process, you know, it's your fulfillment, it's your soul purpose. It's it's the hallelujah. So many things.
Yes, it's the hallelujah. How beautiful is that? Yes. Hallelujah. I love this yeah. German yeah, yes, a big yes interwoven in this yes. And that's so powerful as well, to give ourselves this yes, this permission that we are okay, we are enough, all our experiences are part of our journeys, and saying yes to it. I think it immediately elevates us to a higher vibration, to our higher selves. Like, no, I'm not a victim. I say yes to all who I am, to all my experiences. This is so powerful.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Like one of my favorite songs by Leonard Cohen as well. Hallelujah. I love it.
Yeah. I know when I was a child and my parents were regular churchgoers, and I loved the hymns, the old hymns, you know, just singing and just giving my whole breath to those hymns, you know, and just feeling really, really good about the creation, the creator, and my own role in it.
Oh, beautiful. I didn't grow up with anything like that because I've been brought up in communist Kazakhstan was part of the Soviet Union back then. So my family had nothing to do with the church or with religion. And I'm actually the only person in my whole family who decided once we moved to Germany that I want to be baptized. So I'm the only one in the family who's baptized. And I have been like always drawn, I've been drawn to this invisible language of the divine. It was always speaking to me, even though I was not able to put words into that. And obviously the church and the Bible, there are so many mistranslations, misinterpretations, but I think the raw truth, the unique truth of it, that we are all light beings, that the Jesus Christ, the Trinity, it's all within us. It's all within us. That's the simple
It is
truth.
all within us, and it's a very simple truth. And people have fought wars because they didn't know it was so simple.
Yes, and they still do, and that is it's a scary thing that the people still.
Oh, it's so crazy, so crazy. They're still trying to have their holy wars, but they don't understand that God is the same. He just wears different faces for different people, or she, you know.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it just takes different forms, because in the physical realm, everything has got a different form, and it's not that one is better than the other. It's the diversity that makes up the richness of the whole beautiful tapestry of life. But unfortunately,
that's what I'm in love with.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's still people who try to divide us, saying that some people are better, or some colors or some threads are better than others. But it's not about that. It's about the diversity,
I don't know.
which makes up the wholeness, doesn't it?
Yes, it really is. It really is. And it's, you know, it's about honoring what's holy, whether it's in you or in me or in the tree I'm looking at from here, or, you know, because I'm sitting across from my window as I'm talking to you on my phone. And it's just a beautiful way of carrying life forward, to know that, you know, in each of us there's the metaphor of the tree of life, and the real trees in the world take on that role too. And it's really, I'm thinking that the biggest gift that they give us is awareness. You know, we have awareness, and we have our bodies and our perceptions and our, you know, our life experience to enrich us, and whatever there is that we have between birth and death. And then we're back with the Norns, and again. You know, it's just, it's a beautiful cycle.
Yes, it's a beautiful cycle. And always I
So
knew
we
it.
have some words already.
Yes,
Yeah.
we certainly have got some words already.
And we have, I was just thinking of our 3 words, but we do playful, and we do useful, and we do coming back home to ourselves.
Playful, useful, coming home,
Useful,
coming back home
to ourselves, yeah.
Yes, for me it's like the
And
hallelujah.
I like your question too. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah,
and
definitely.
I would repeat your question. I would repeat your question too. Who's breathing me now? You know, because that's a wonderful way to be centered again.
Yes. Who's breathing me now? Yes. Beautiful. And today is a very powerful day. Like we probably never experienced this constellation like today. Is like the solstice, solar eclipse, and the new moon in Cancer. This is so special. I'm wondering whether you felt the energies and how did they like weave through you today?
Oh, for me, I'm a crazy because I'm a double water sign. I have my rising sign in Scorpio and my moon sign in Pisces, and my son is in the military, so I was really missing him today. You know, just it's the COVID separation is a long one, and the military one is a long one. And I hadn't heard from him for about a week, so I was, you know, getting mama anxieties. But he called me this morning, so we got that straightened out. But it was, yeah, it's just it's interesting because we can feel the paradox of our own polarity. You know, I was feeling a little bit depressed because I wasn't with my son, but at the same time, I'm feeling really excited by the work I'm doing on the book. So when I would get too far into sad, I stepped back into glad. Hey, that rhymes.
From sad to glad, yeah.
So, you know, yeah, one of the things I've learned to do when I'm feeling bad about something is not to identify with any cause, but just to experience the emotion with purity of intention, so that I'm just feeling the emotion and allowing the emotion to wash through me like water. That's, you know, emotions are like water. That's why we have the wells on the Tree of Worlds, and the water just carries it through you if you're willing to step into it. If it's when I used to, before I understand, and I used to not want to feel bad, I would try to shove those emotions back down to the root, but they just keep coming up. So I learned to allow them, to surrender to them, to accept them. And then they move through me with grace. You know, they move through me with grace and presence. And I can own that, because what's behind my, you know, missing my son is love, right? And what's behind being disappointed with other people when they don't step up is love. I want things to be better for everybody, you know? So how often I think when we take a look at even our most hard emotions, you know, sometimes behind them is just love. Or, you know, behind traumas, you wanted love, you didn't get, but you wanted love. So there's always that seed. There's that seed.
Absolutely, yeah. Beautiful. It's the same like the source, the from where everything originates from. It's like who's breathing you now? It's always love. It's always love. And behind all our, no matter what hard feelings or horrible things out there on the surface which come up, what is behind that is always love. It's always love.
Yeah, and that it's a solstice is so marvelous too, because it's the central star in our solar system, and you wouldn't have plants growing without it. You know, it calls us to grow, you know, it calls us to go outside and just spend time in nature. You know, the sun is always calling. And that's what's so, you know, so much fun about it. I
Yeah.
think its presence is love.
Yes. Presence is love.
So how about you? How have you been experiencing the solstice?
Well, like my friend, dear Frauke, she's an artist, and I had the pleasure to meet her. We traveled together to Siberia in 2018, to the sacred mountain Beluga in Siberia. And she has got an art piece project called the Golden Sun of Europe. She started with Europe with 52 pieces, golden pieces, which are, and 52 is because there are 51 countries in the European continent, and the 52nd piece is the one connected all the countries to this one golden sun. And the ceremony usually takes place that each person centers himself or herself and says, I am, with a very powerful, high vibrational word, like I am love, I am acceptance, I am wisdom, and calls the name, I am Erica, I am, for me today came I am wisdom. And then puts the puzzle like one after the other together, that it builds a beautiful golden sun, and it's also embroidered with a golden thread around, and it is a beautiful
nice
project of like a traveling peace project she's doing, like in different countries. People can invite her, and since like the coronavirus, she was not able to do it live and inviting many people. She sent out an invitation to do it from wherever we are, at the biggest point of the sun when it's the brightest. Today it was between 12 and 1 o'clock. She was doing that from her sacred place, and she did a video as well where her whole family, her husband and her 2 children, she has got a son and a daughter. They have been building the golden sun, and with this conscious awareness to bring healing between the male and the female, and between the children on earth. And I connected with them.
That's beautiful.
And I was looking whilst they were filming it, and like connected with what came through me at this moment of this highest sun light. It came to me like, I am Erica, I am wisdom, and I like consciously put like my puzzle piece into the golden sun. And that's how it's so present, this high energy, that no matter where we are, we all have got this power simply through connecting with the sun, which gives us like life and our highest like vibration, and it feels so great. So I've been doing that, and yeah, I think it's very powerful.
It would be wonderful if there's a picture of it you could put on the webpage.
Yes, you mean like
a
underneath this
photograph of this son of hers? I love it.
Yes, of course, I can do that. Yes,
that would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds very powerful and very beautiful. I love these interactive art things. They're just so neat. You know, it raises consciousness in such unique ways.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I feel forever connected with her as well, because we did this ritual close to the sacred mountain Beluga, which is itself a very powerful sacred place. a lot of people say there's also the cradle of the Shambhala, of the Holy Land there, and it's been an incredible experience to be there anyway. And as it happens, my belt, which I've also embroidered with the goddess Mokosh, I had it with me during the ritual in Siberia. And there's a picture also on my Facebook profile where my belt, embroidered belt, lies on her golden sun, which is also like embroidered.
Wow.
And this is great. Such a powerful picture, and that like combines us anyway, like brings together our threads, and so I feel very connected.
You have that connection.
Absolutely, to the lands, to the frogs, and to this traveling golden sun around the world. And yes, I think that's how healing happens. The more sacred places we build, whether it's here at home, through our artwork, traveling to other powerful places, that's how we heal the world. That's how powerful we are.
Yeah.
Our whole conversation today was about that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And I think one more thing that just came to me, our connection to water, and the emotions relating to water. But when we have prayers, or we have worries, or we have concerns, water can carry those too, So a lot of times in the morning, I'll go down to the creek to pray because I know the water listens. And when it flows, it carries the healing energy of those prayers with it. And when it evaporates to go back up into the sky as rain, it's carrying those prayers up to the ears of God or the goddess. So when it rains also, we bring healing back down upon the earth. Is that not also beautiful?
Wow, beautiful. Beautiful awareness, yes. And how interconnected it all is. But again, like all elements are so important, and it's like this interconnectedness of it all which makes it so whole again. I mean, people also say at the solstice, we celebrate water with the fire, and that's what brings life, and that's why a lot of people do a fire on the solstice as well, and jump over the fire, like yes, it's like it's nothing is more value than the other. It's like really like it's an interplay of all of the elements.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Life is such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So you still have got quite half of a day is still to come, to go in front of you on the special days, while here it's already like
no problem.
10 o'clock at night almost.
Yeah, I will have my special day walking the dog. Tonight we have the fireflies are out. It's June and they're so beautiful. I don't know if you have fireflies over in Germany or not, but we have fireflies, and they're like little twinkling stars flying out of the field. Their little tummies have phosphorus in them, so they do these mating dances. They put out these lights, and they're just so beautiful. It's like shooting stars in the meadow.
Wow. Yeah, they are beautiful. So we can see them if we are on the land, like in the countryside, but I don't live too much in the countryside to see them. Yeah. So we have got our
benefits to living both places.
Yes, sure. That's why I like where I live at the moment. It's part of the city, but actually very much on the outskirts, which is like a village in itself. It's like the backyard, there are like only like horses, and you feel like you're making holidays in a village. But if you just go down there, the street down there, there's, yeah, you get to the city, and yeah, I like that.
The best of both worlds.
Yes, and all the in between, of course.
All the in between. Well, Erica, it's so nice to connect with you every week. Yeah. And I think we've had a really good talk today on different topics, but relating to our own personal power and our ability to just step into it and own it and be part of life.
Yes.
So
it was beautiful.
I will say good night.
Good night, good day, good rest.
Yes.
Of the very just powerful day with the solstice and new moon and solar eclipse.
Yes.
And we have got our words of the day. Hallelujah. Who is breathing me?
Hallelujah.
Playful. I have. What's I can.
Playful. Hallelujah.
Useful.
Playful. Being useful. And coming home to ourselves.
And coming home to ourselves. So we have got so much goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
So, Blagadaru.
Blagadaru, many, many blessings.
Blagadaru. Yes. Be well, my friend. I'll see you again next week.
Yes. Blagadaru. All the best.
You too.